What's our theme today, Makeda?
The theme today is indulgence. That's what.
Wait a minute. It is not indulgence.
Well, technically, it is. It is releasing guilt and accepting pleasure.
Okay,
Correct.
I'm on with that.
Okay, so we were going through this book, The Pleasure Principles.
Oh, do we have a copy to show people?
I have one downstairs. It's a really nice cover, but I mean, it's your average book. I would say looking at least. Okay. But and this woman, she's talking all about ways in which we have oppressed ourselves throughout history and now in accepting and indulging in pleasures in life and the effects that that's had in so many ways. Just a lot of times us having to face telling ourselves no and what that does to the human soul and whatnot.
So the she we're talking about is the author.
Oh, yes.
And her name is Adrienne Maree Brown. So we want to give you a heads up. And the book is called Pleasure Activism.
Yes.
And so what's cool is that Adrienne Maree Brown is this young African-American woman, identified activist, organizer who spent a lot of time, organizing social movement, political change, and saw that inside of our movements, we are replicating some things in our dominant society that do not serve us, right?
Yeah.
But they're kind of like automatic, so they just keep playing themselves out, even though people are trying to create something new or they're resisting.
Yeah.
So
one thing she talked about was what she calls a pleasure lineage. And the pleasure lineage is about those who came before us that showed us at a young age what it's like to indulge in pleasure, or showed us a positive role model in someone that's just not scared to take what they want or have what they want, basically. And so she tells everyone, the reader basically, and says, identify what's your pleasure lineage. Where do you get your your acceptance for pleasure? And I think for me, my pleasure lineage is definitely comes from my mother. Just the way she doesn't deny herself what she wants. And I mean, this particularly has stood out to me in your career. You do what you want to do, even if it's not necessarily promised. There's not a promised result. And that always
or a
stuck out to
guaranteed
me.
result.
Yeah, it was just your determination to do what worked for you. You didn't want to do a 9-to-5. I remember a time struggling, thinking, why don't you just get a regular job? But that wasn't, I mean, but I was young, and that wasn't what it was about. And looking back on it now, I have so much admiration for the fact that you stuck with what you did. 'Cause here we are.
Wow. Thanks. I had no idea. We don't prepare an awful lot for these, so I didn't know she was going to go there.
Well, I want to know what's your pleasure lineage.
Yeah,
and
that's
maybe
so
what some
interesting.
Of yours, if you want to put them in the chat.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your pleasure lineage if you want to put in the chat so I'm, obviously I'm your mom, so I'm in your direct line.
Yeah.
So your pleasure lineage person may not be a biological relative, or it may not be your immediate parent, but a generation or two ago. And I love it, Makeda, that you brought up by talking about my work, because my work does give me pleasure.
I know it does.
That's a good point. But usually we think of work and pleasure like in two different boxes. Like there's a weekend for pleasure and then there's a work week.
Yeah.
And I know, just to put this to you, I feel like you look at the things that I think of are, it's just automatic, or of course this, or of course that. You have me kind of like shaking up about it, like, oh, okay. So,
it's not, natural for everybody.
Right. And one of the things I know for you is you're like, well, is a 5-day work week really natural?
Yeah.
Why is it? I heard you say it's natural. I've heard you say you don't want it. And
I don't think it's a certain amount of hours in a work week that I think is really unnatural.
Right. It just gets us. She's gonna get the chocolate labs under control. So it just, to me, it raises this whole, what I feel like people in Makeda's generation and Adrienne Maree Brown are doing is like they're having us think about being productive. They're having us rethink that, because a lot of times we think when we're productive, we're not pleasurable, or pleasure is not productive, and therefore we shouldn't be doing it. I mean, I feel like the younger generations are sort of like more questioning more fundamental things that I grew up as assuming, of course you work hard.
Mm-hmm. You know what?
And Makeda's kind of like, why?
Work smarter, not harder. That's my thing right now. But I was just actually watching a show today about immigrant parents and how hard they had to work to come to America. It was honestly hilarious because it'll show their whole story of how they got to America, mm-hmm. and then some mundane moment between them and their kids. And their mm-hmm. kids are like, I don't want to do it. It's hilarious to show it all lined up like that. Mm. But the thing that the parents said, they were like, from our perspective, fun wasn't really like a thing when we were a kid. It mm-hmm. wasn't really something everyone did, so they don't feel robbed by it, I guess, either, by the lack of it. And that's something that a lot of people in my generation, we've grown up expecting a certain amount of entertainment, pleasure, dopamine. Like, we need, even when we're done work, we go, we watch TV, we relax. We expect that on now, I think.
Yeah. And you've used that term, because, again, I'm learning from Makeda in a lot of ways. Use that term. He's like, where did my dopamine go? Is that what you said to me one day?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, where did my dopamine go? And that, can you tell people what that means when you said it to me, what you meant by it?
What I meant was, like, my brain was being fed, and I just felt like all of a sudden I stopped thinking about the thing that was making me so happy, and the difference was so immediate in my brain that all of a sudden I literally felt like, what was I just doing? Like, what was that feeling? Because I feel like not that anymore. It really comes and goes so quickly.
And so part of why I think is important about it is to be awake to it.
Yeah.
So when you're like, what made your dopamine drop? Because by dopamine, what I heard you talk about was, or what I heard you describe, it felt like contentment or ease.
Yeah, exactly.
A sense of being at ease.
Well, for me, it's almost excitement. It's almost like a little,
Okay.
And then I stop feeling it, and I'm like, wait, why am I excited? Like, what was happening,
Yeah. So I know we have so many comments coming from people, so I definitely want to, check in with them. So let's check in with some of the comments so far to see what's coming up. You want to share something, Makeda?
Anne-Marie said her 7-year-old heard me say, work smarter, not harder, and said, yup. See?
Actually, Ricardo Levis Morales, he says the thing that, and he's like an old-time activist. By old-time, I mean, I think he's in his 70s. And so he's been active since the late 60s.
Yeah.
And change movements. And he said the last thing he wants to hear is we have to redouble our efforts. He's like, no.
No.
Yeah.
That's right.
So thanks for sharing that. And that was Anne-Marie. Mm-hmm. Let's see. And somebody here on Zoom says that she doesn't really have a pleasure lineage. And she's always focused on productivity. And shying away from pleasure because it's not productive.
So it's like two different mindsets we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
You either have the one where you feel entitled to pleasure, or one where you feel expected to work. I don't know if entitled's the word.
Or maybe feel completely not entitled. Like it's somehow...
I don't want to say productive. They think they don't deserve it, because I don't think that's what it is.
Right. Well, we don't know, exactly what this Laura's story is, but I will say that the guilt about not being productive, I just want to say, for me, that comes from, I just remember being a little kid, and again, you talked about immigrant parents, so I grew up in Black households. With some people who lived through the Depression, and so they have like very certain ideas, like things don't go to waste.
Yep.
But also, seeing kids sitting around having pleasure is like annoying.
God. That is a thing in a lot of Black households, for sure. I think we may have talked about this last week, honestly.
Did we get into the
I feel like
we started talking about napping last week.
Oh, maybe I was talking to a friend then about this. But I do think it roots back to slavery. Black parents seeing their kids doing nothing and thinking,
what the hell is wrong with you?
Literally, what the hell?
It is true, because I know I had felt that way looking at you and your brother at different times.
I know, because as a kid, you try not to look unbusy around your parents. You either go to your room to be unbusy, but when you're upstairs, you're washing dishes and moving around.
Yeah, but there's so I feel like in some ways my journey is learning how to experience pleasure and receive pleasure and calm the H down.
Yeah.
In terms of this productivity question. And I thought it was real interesting when we were talking about pleasure and you brought up washing dishes. Because remember, I said for me, work is pleasurable. So that's awesome. But come on, check an email before I go to bed. That is never pleasurable. That is just habit and worry.
You seem very, very
well, because I'm
strong on that.
Because that has ruined so many nights of sleep for me is when I go, let me go look at this thing. And then it's like, ugh.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
But you were talking about something, an everyday thing. You were talking about washing the dishes. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you want to share that because...
Well, basically, the goal is to find pleasure in my responsibilities. So in the things that I cannot change, that I know I'm not crazy about automatically. It's to change that mindset and say, why am I not crazy about it? And something like washing the dishes, it's work, but when you do hard work, it doesn't feel like too much work, you know? It's something you can totally manage around, and you have all the freedom in the world because you're in your house. You can watch TV, you can put on music.
Well, that's what you were saying. You feel like it's a great moment because you put on your music and you're like got the water going.
And the water's hot, and I'm just kind of letting the warm water rush over. It's finding the nice things. Same with vacuuming. It's loud, but it's really satisfying to see a carpet get clean, like from side to side.
Yeah.
It's great.
So I just want to say I never feel happy vacuuming. And I kind of have to admit, I don't have that thing about the dishes, but I think it's because I come from it like, let's get it done. Like even my wrinkle on my forehead comes up. Let's get it done. But then I'm missing a pleasurable moment.
Mm-hmm. But you're a big let's get it done person.
I am. I know there's some of you out there. I forgot. On the Enneagram, it might be a 3. I might be a 3. I've heard enough people say stuff that I'm like, yeah, I might be one of those people. Whoop, whoop, for those of us.
The Enneagram 3. Yep.
Because, we do have good things we give to the world, but we really do need to... It's almost like create receptacles for pleasure.
Yeah.
You have to sometimes
it's hard to receive it sometimes. Yes. It really, really is. I remember this summer I was laying on the beach with 3 of my best friends who I had not seen, and everything was just perfect. And I just thought, why can't I feel this more? I feel like I should be more satisfied. And and then that thought really messed me up. And what I wish I had done in that moment, looking back on it now, is just paid attention to the positive thoughts instead of worrying about the negative ones, just trying to focus elsewhere.
That is such a powerful story. Because, okay, so there you are on the beach, lying down with your friends, right? You've been looking forward to this all summer, which you were. Yeah. Worked really hard so you could have your money. Okay, I know the setup. And it was a beautiful place.
It was just perfect. No stress, no worry.
And then the thought comes.
Why am I not enjoing this enough?
Yeah.
Something wrong with me?
And then...
Are they enjoying themselves?
Oh my goodness. Then you pay all attention to the thought.
So bullcrap.
And then you definitely are far away from pleasure.
Yeah.
Wow. And I think that is a huge thing. Like how much, I'm following this teacher right now. Makeda knows because I watch him a lot. His name is Muji. And one of the things he says is don't date your thoughts. Don't be falling in love with your thoughts because most of them thoughts are there to rob you of joy.
They're players. They will come and they will go.
Ooh, they will play you. Let's see. Oh, there's someone on here named Makeda.
Hi.
Oh, she says that her mother literally cannot sit still.
I know people like that too.
Yeah, and then there's a puritanical strain where you're trained to think about pleasure and treat those things as wrong. Yeah, I think that Protestant work ethic is huge in the United States. That, especially, all those New Englanders, and the WASPy people, there's a lot of distrust of pleasure. I hope I didn't offend anybody when I'm saying that, especially you WASPy people. Because what I really do mean, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, there's a whole lineage and a whole way of looking at the world, included when people colonize, where, soft things that make you feel good, sitting under a tree, resting, enjoying the sunset. I don't know, eating foods that give your mouth lots of sensation. It's like, oh no, you're doing the devil's work. I mean, it's really like they came at it. They came at it hard.
Deep. They went deep into the psyche. That is some intense reprogramming.
It is. So so to reprogram us into thinking we're lazy, or to see our work and rest cycles as laziness.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
As opposed to as
that's it.
This
right
is
there.
A natural way of living in the world.
It is a work and rest cycle.
Yeah.
It's a great way to put it. And sometimes it's a bit uneven, and that's okay.
Well, right, and then you got to catch it up.
Exactly.
Get more on that rest side.
You just got to have faith that you'll even it out. And I think normally
let's see. Any more comments from Facebook? Because I read a couple people from Zoom.
So we had someone say, I read it earlier. Oh yeah, the overarching white supremacy culture we've digested. It makes it hard for us to just be. That's what we were saying.
Yeah.
With the colonization and whatnot.
True. Capitalism is not, quote, productive.
Yeah.
So why would you train people in how to do it?
Yeah, exactly. And we had Faith. Faith says she teaches dance to get out of the head and mind. And
yeah.
I think that's great. I still can't really dance alone by myself. I've tried. It's just I'm too in my head about it. Isn't that weird?
I have to force myself.
It feels so weird, right? But some people are more prone to dancing than others. Yeah. I think that too. But I don't know what to do.
Well, okay, so these people who I follow,
yeah,
Freddie and Elspeth, they do a lot of self-love stuff. And they told me that, they said, well, when you meditate, Amanda, and everyone else who they were talking to, you don't have to just sit quietly for your meditation. They sent us 2 sound titles, tracks, and they were like, just keep moving through the track. Keep moving. And because the track is like 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and I'm focusing on the movement the whole time, they're like, that's meditation.
Oh, they say just like move your body.
Yes.
Interesting. I think I have seen you do that.
Yeah, so you don't have to, it's not about for someone else. It's about, this is my meditation, is me listening to the music, being with it, and seeing what my body wants to do to it.
Yeah. I gotta try that.
I think so.
I think I'm gonna try
if you're one of these super productive hype types.
Well, this is a great segue into my next question for you. So how do you think, and you guys can comment too, of course, how do you think your life would be different if you allowed yourself to indulge in pleasures?
I just want to say receive rather than indulge.
Receive. Thank you.
Because that word indulge has...
It means sneaky almost.
It's just something about it.
Receive sounds a lot better anyways.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, how would your life be different if there was no blockage to you receiving pleasures?
Okay, so the first thing that came to mind, I'm not sure I want to say publicly, so I'm going to go to the next one. Yeah, I think, you know what, honestly, I wonder the rhythm of my work and rest. I wonder. Right now, when I'm not working, I go on a retreat to almost force myself to stop working. And a retreat is a structured time where I put things down. I start to drop things.
And you don't go, you go rarely. You don't go often on retreats.
Right. I go like twice a year.
Yeah.
So I think if I was more open to receiving pleasure and experiencing pleasure. Oh, here it is. I think I would need to process more sorrow.
Ooh.
That's what's standing in the way of the receiving, is the blocking of the sadness or
right. Therefore, anything that
judgment.
Gets through is more on the superficial side. Right. It's not like a deep.
I'm not really letting it in because I'm blocking other stuff.
Interesting. Well, that's something for you to think about.
Yeah, well, it's something for me to do something about. I actually have some tools.
I didn't know. I didn't want to kickstart you into it, whenever you're ready.
No, I wouldn't do it here. Okay. But, yeah, I think in fact, somebody else, I was in a Woman of Color retreat, and this came up, that she had some difficult feelings she didn't want to feel, so she really wasn't open to feeling the pleasure that we were generating in the moment. We were doing some pleasurable activities, and that's when she said. And so we just stopped it and we said, okay, we're gonna go through this process so we can all feel.
That sounds like that retreat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we did. We felt. We let it out, and then we could feel more pleasure. So in some ways, do you see what I mean? In some ways, I feel like I do meditate pretty regularly, but what I think I need, it might be like a nightly, I call it feel flow, where you feel the feelings that you maybe been holding back on before going to sleep. Just let yourself feel them, go through that process.
Yeah. I couldn't do it nightly, I don't think, but I definitely have times where at night I just don't feel right, and that's when I know I need to write something out or do something to release and express.
Yes.
Because otherwise my dreams will be crazy, all types of stuff. I just want to relax. And then what ways in life do you receive pleasure now? Like where do you allow yourself pleasure?
Where do I allow myself pleasure? Well, how would your life be different? I mean, if you allowed yourself to receive pleasure, in what ways do you receive pleasure?
I guess I think my life would be different because I wouldn't think as much. That's something big for me. You guys know already, my thoughts tend to steal my pleasure away from me often. It's lots of times where I receive a wave of like gratitude or something like that and I feel great. And next thing I know, it's snatched away from me because something else comes up. So it's just, for me, it's all about control over my head. I'm pretty content with my relationship with the outside world and how I can receive things well. But yeah, I got some inner stuff to do.
I like that. I mean, because it's almost like, when you say control of your head, it's almost like a muscle, like building up a skill.
Literally.
Literally. And that's not picking up or dating your thoughts is a skill.
And it's interesting because I think I definitely over the years have watched my anxiety grow muscle.
Ooh, it's gotten stronger.
It's gotten stronger for sure, because for a while I wasn't recognizing it. That made it get stronger. Then once I recognized it, then it's really kicking in gear, of course. And I couldn't find the solution until your teacher Muji was talking all about removing the attention, guiding the attention away, because trying purposely saying, I want to remove this thought is not what helps you remove the thought.
Right.
It focuses you deeper on it. So, I mean, so far it's been working for me, but of course it's more, right now it's just about pushing the thoughts away when they come. So the thoughts are still coming, but.
Right. And they will arise, but it's like, one of the principles we talked about last week from Adrienne Maree Brown is where you put your attention grows. Where you put your attention grows.
Well, exactly.
So that's an example of that. And then the second principle she had that I really liked was something like, you become what you practice.
I think that's a risky statement, to be honest.
Well, let's talk about it.
Well, it automatically reminded me of, you are not your thoughts, you are not your feelings, things you're supposed to do. But after I said that, I really thought about it for a second. What you do, it does sort of get instilled in you if you do it enough. And what you say, your practice, that means you're probably doing it often. But it doesn't feel right, because I also feel like there's probably people who are in situations where what they practice is not what they want. It's not who they want to be.
Right.
And you don't want to limit them to that either.
Absolutely.
Because, there's always room to grow.
You're right. Okay,
but
I agree with you.
I agree with this statement, though. But really thinking it through, processing it makes sense.
You become what you practice. And I guess I've been thinking about that, because if you practice holding on to stuff and not letting yourself feel feelings, then maybe what you become is somebody who doesn't have a lot of pleasure receptacles.
Perhaps.
Maybe. I'm just saying, they do go together.
Maybe.
So, what was the question you were asking me?
Well, it was about...
what do I do now for pleasure?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a fun question. Maybe we should let our folks answer.
Oh, yeah.
What they do
I
for
want
pleasure.
some ideas, actually.
Oh, good. You want some ideas that people can give to us and each other?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's
see. We'll read some comments while we wait. So Catherine Jones says, I work with kids and they are pleasure experts. I learned so much about finding the fun in everything for them. It is so true. That kid brain makes everything fun. I remember being a kid and being obsessed with the airplane tray table. The way it just like folded down and came up.
Oh my gosh.
Do you remember that too?
It does sound familiar. The things that you would be obsessed with.
Probably because it looked like a laptop. I was obsessed with working when I was younger.
She had a play cell phone.
Yeah, I had a few play phones, some play keyboards.
Yes, and the thing that you do, the cash register.
And then I had one of those receipt things where you add numbers. And
she wanted a calculator with like the paper roll for Christmas. Yeah. That's so interesting. And it gave you pleasure.
It really did. I felt so satisfied.
Interesting.
Okay,
Hang out with people who share interests in things that give you pleasure.
It's true.
That's a good idea.
And it's very validating also.
Yeah.
Which can be nice and helpful.
Yeah.
Watching my goofy animals. Me too. I have to say, I often forget that my dog exists until I come home and I see her. And then it's like, oh my God, hey Fred. I love seeing her little face. It really makes my day.
What do you think about the animal videos that get circulated on social media?
If you guys are not watching, it's the Dodo is the name of the YouTube channel. They have amazing it's like inspiring animal rehabilitation stories.
It is.
And they're so sweet. All of them, yeah.
Yes. And the reason why I brought it up, and obviously Makeda, if it's not clear, introduced me to this, is because I've actually read that you should deliberately feed yourself stuff like that.
Oh, that makes sense.
It may not be the Dodo for everyone, but whatever it is that gives you that sense of pleasure, sweetness, compassion.
Yes, and for me, it's seeing humans be nice. It makes me just fall in love with Earth sometimes when I'm not feeling so positive about it. So that's good for me.
Seeing humans be nice. Wow. Yeah. I think we all need that.
Me too.
I mean, really.
It's so satisfying. The fact that it's that satisfying. I don't know.
That's interesting.
So, Megan says a big one that we both like to do. Baths. Baths are amazing.
Yeah.
And then listening to music and dancing and walking in nature.
Yes. Walking in nature. That's a big one for me.
Yeah.
I really like that. And she also said laughing. And being a very serious type, even as a little kid, I have to admit.
I know you're so serious. But you're nice serious.
I'm very earnest. I always wanted to be the fun parent. But every year, I feel like every year I make a resolution. I'm going to be fun.
You're better at.
That's not my thing. I don't know.
Well, when you're a person whose love language is like acts of service, it can be hard to be the fun parent.
Thank you. That was very kind.
I thought it was.
And I do think there are people out there where maybe you're like me, where you do get a lot of satisfaction from a life of service. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, what a beautiful way to put that. Yeah. Some of us are like that. And so we're very earnest types. And, okay. So we just have to love ourselves in our little earnestness.
Exactly. And I don't know if serious is the word for you.
Oh, really?
It's something, but not
serious.
It is something. Not serious, not strict either.
No, maybe I could have been stricter. But let's move on.
Catherine Jones says, stopping and asking myself, what do I need right now? And then giving it to myself.
Wow, Catherine Jones, you are an adult. I think that's called adulting. What do I need right now? And then giving it to myself. Wow, adulting. Heads up.
So I had one last question, but I feel like we already kind of talked about it. So it's like, do you see instances where your past has held you back from enjoying the present?
Ooh, wow, that's a good question, because
I know we've talked about backgrounds religiously and stuff, but even like past experiences.
Or my past has held me back from enjoying the present.
Maybe it instilled fear in you.
Yeah. I think this. I have a contradictory desire thing going on inside me right now. But on the one hand, I actually want to live as I want to be free. So
Free how so?
Free not to be referring to my past.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I want to be free in this moment. So I don't want to have my memory or my injuries or my ego like determining this moment for me.
You don't want them up in the head making decisions.
I don't want them up in my head making decisions, and I don't want them up. Yeah, I guess that is a good way to put it. So, and on the other hand, I never want to forget where I came from, or I don't want to forget the hard-won lessons. You know, like about love and for as growing up as a girl in the United States, one of the things that my sister and I constantly talked about when we were little girls was when we get married and have our wedding. I forgot we did that until I was watching a TV show and they were saying, yeah, women fantasize about their weddings when they're little girls. Weddings are basically for them. And I was like, oh, wait, that does ring true.
That used to be me.
That used to be me,
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, and I've learned, obviously, so I've been married twice now. And so, I know a wedding is an event and a marriage is like totally different.
Amen.
So I don't want to lose knowledge.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to, I want to be free.
What makes you think that being free will somehow wipe that knowledge out?
Like if I don't have memory, that I won't have knowledge?
Or that somehow you won't have memory?
Well, usually the way memory works is like, oh, that hurt. So I don't want to do that again.
Or I don't. That's something hurt.
Or the way memory works is like, why do I feel bad? Well, I feel bad. Oh, because he said something that made me think of the last time.
Yeah.
It's like an ouch from the past. It's someone stimulated, something they said, the way they looked. And so then I feel I don't have freedom because I'm reacting from the past. Yeah.
Well, so it sounds like you want to let your past go then. But you're scared of losing the lessons. So
I'm holding on to control.
I'm just saying, I feel like you're not giving yourself enough credit to have it all. I totally think you can have it all.
I know, because if I've learned it, it's in the body already.
I don't have faith in that. And if you don't, write them out. Write your lessons down and then let the rest of the past go. Ooh, isn't that good?
Did you hear that?
Make a list.
She said, write your lessons down and let the rest of the past go.
The rest of it is junk. We're gonna have to try it like a column. What you want to let go of and what you want to keep.
Yeah, or just write the lessons. And don't even write the other stuff
down.
Don't
remember it.
Don't remember the other stuff.
Yeah, that's probably smart. I'm just trying to help you. I want you to be free.
I'm blown away. I'm like, wow, maybe I should really do that.
It's possible. I guess that's all I want to show is like, it is possible. Probably.
I want to know what, well, yeah. My mind, you just stopped my mind from functioning. That just blew me away.
Well, we're at a pretty good time, honestly.
Oh my God. Oh, we're at time. Maybe the past is like compost. We can take the nourishment from it as we need it.
As you need it.
I like that.
Keyword.
And Alana is saying, preach, Makeda.
Thank you. I think that's my second preach, Makeda.
Makeda is just on fire today. Megan says, I like to say the things I want versus don't want because not wants are based in the past.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. Everything you know you don't want
is based in the past. You're like
100%.
Wow.
Maybe that's why you have to go through so much stuff you don't like, just to know you don't want it.
Yeah, maybe. But this has been a beautiful conversation, and we promised that we would give away a copy of Adrienne Maree Brown's book, Pleasure Activism.
Yeah, I gave it.
Wait, we're giving another one today.
Oh, okay. It's like I already did that.
So, because we've been talking about her, we talked about her last week.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about her this week, and we'll have one more conversation about pleasure next week.
Okay. Yep.
And so each time we're going to give a book away. And so, Makeda, what you said we pick a random number and then we count the number of comments, and is that how?
Wasn't me, though.
You don't need to know how we pick it, but just know we're picking it randomly. Okay. So for example, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, just comment a number if you want the book. Before you comment, I will say the book is a little raunchy, so if you don't want a raunchy read, I wouldn't recommend commenting, but comment the number if you want.
If you would like to be eligible to get a free copy of Adrienne Maree Brown's Pleasure Activism, put a number in the chat or in the comments, and then so we'll know that I don't know what Makeda's doing. Somehow we're going to pick one in random, and we love you all. So,
and thank you all for keeping it between 1 and 50. You all did it. I appreciate that.
Between 1 and 50, Makeda says. Okay, good. And what we'll do is, if you're the one who's picked, number gets picked, then you should send a email to Makeda with your mailing address, and she will have it shipped to you. Makeda's putting her email in the comments now.
Oh, okay. I think I'll just.
Yeah.
I hope I can.
Makeda@gmail.
To get lost in there. Okay. Anyways, let me get the number now.
She's generating the number now.
How exciting! Give me a drum roll.
Oh, a drum roll.
Okay. Let's see if we got a number 47 in here.
Ooh, but we had a 44, Makeda.
Should we go who's ever's closest? Because I don't see a 47.
But you got to look on Facebook too.
Oh my God! Can't forget.
Okay, we got a 42 and a.
We got a 46
and a
here.
46.
Diana Lopez.
Oh, Diana, you gonna get a copy of Pleasure Activism, girl. Go ahead and send Makeda an email.
My email is at the bottom of the chat.
It's makeda.akemp@gmail.com, and she will go ahead and send you, or order and send to you.
Yep, send it right from Amazon. Congratulations. I hope you like it. I started reading it. She opens it, or not the intro, but the first chapter is, I think, an essay by Audre Lorde, and it's really, really good.
Yeah,
super inspiring stuff.
Mm.
So, recommend it. Congrats. Oh, this beautiful bird just.
Oh my gosh,
she's on our lights.
That was beautiful. Okay, we gotta go. We love you all. See you next week.
Thank you.
We'll
everyone.
be here next week. Bye.